Welcome back once again into the King's Forge for another segment that we call Sharpening Iron. And we've been delving into the book of Revelation. And today we're going to be covering chapter 13. And we've got a lot to get into, and we're going to talk about some beasts that are going to be coming on the scene. So,
Two beasts.
yeah, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, welcome back. We're so glad you joined us here at the King's Forge for a dive into chapter 13 of Revelation and the two beasts.
We've got the seventh trumpet.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got 7 different personages that we're talking about, 7 different identities. We have the woman, we have the man-child, we have the red dragon, we have Michael, who fought against the red dragon, and we have the remnant of Israel that the red dragon went after. After we read in chapter 12 where she was taken to a place and kept there for a time, and the red dragon has gone after the remnant. And now we're going to get into 2 beasts, one from the sea and one from the earth. These beasts are often referred to as the Antichrist and the false prophet. And so that's where we're at. That's where we're going into. So let me go into Revelation 13:1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth was as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to the death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast, and who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
There it is again.
There it is again, the 3.5 years. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given to him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. And if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that landeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And we're going to stop there. That's the first 10 chapters of, first 10 verses of the 13th chapter of Revelation.
You know, something I thought was poignant here, it made a point to me when I was looking through our resources and references on this episode, was that I saw that was actually not translated wrong, but it's written down wrong. It is a manuscript error. It's he saw.
Well,
And
there's evidence that there is a manuscript error, and that the actual translation of that verse should be he saw.
And that he would be who? Satan. It wasn't John. John was seeing Satan see the 2 beasts, the beast from the sea and the beast from the land, which caused to that.
Well, if you
Trinity,
realize, and
right?
let's indulge this. Let's just go back here. If you realize when this text was written, when the Bible was written, there weren't chapter and verse divisions.
Yes.
So if we go back, let's go back into what we call chapter 12, and let's just read it continuously from the end of chapter or Revelation 12 into 13. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ. And he stood upon the sand of the sea and saw the beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
So that flows better. It's just the way the manuscript was created from the my mind just went blank, from the scrolls was part of it, because that makes to me a little more, and it's here or there really, but it does make a little more sense to me that he saw, because we were just talking about the dragon was there, he was doing things, and he saw his minions show up, right? Because you've got, and it's you got the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, you have
well,
devil.
And many people perceive that this entity, this personage that they described here, is a Gentile. Okay,
because it comes from the sea, and the Bible, the sea is a lot of times what?
A reference for all peoples.
The multitudes.
Multitudes of peoples.
So from the multitudes comes a Gentile.
Now let me ask you something. Have you ever considered that it's not a person, like a single man that we ever thought of?
I've heard that. The spirit of the Antichrist kind of thing, right? Is that what you're talking about?
That's kind of what I'm talking about.
Antichrist spirit, which has been prevalent.
Right. But remember that this beast that rises up out of the sea is an entity. I have heard it speculated, and it's interesting, and I think it's worthy of discussion, that this could possibly represent what we call the United Nations.
Yes, I've heard that.
Now, what's interesting is they just erected a statue in front of the United Nations that is identical to the beast described in this passage, with the head, the feet, and the head of the lion, all that stuff.
I didn't know that. Well, and I've seen it and heard it said it could be both, and there's reasons for that too. It could be a entity or a nation, let's say, and a leader of that nation as well, because a lot of times the statesman is part of the state kind of thing, right? King and kingdoms. A king is over a kingdom, so it could be from that comes this person who's, I will get to it, but who has the mortal wound, right? One of the heads.
And so, and that's what I was. You went.
Did I jump ahead of you?
No. You went quicker than I was going to. That's fine. That's fine.
Back me up.
Well, and I was going to go into that. I was going to bring that into the discussion because I've heard this put forth that this could be a political entity and not a personal entity.
Yeah.
But, and that's where I was going, is if it were a political entity, that belies the description that we have of this person, of having a withered arm and a wound to his eye and forehead. Ezekiel?
Where is that?
Those accounts are in the Old Testament.
In the Old Testament,
yeah, of his description.
Of his description, withered hand and the right eye with that. And I heard speculation from that is later on in Revelation,
in Isaiah.
Okay, later on we hear that they take a mark on their forehead or a mark on their arm.
Right, and we're going to come to that.
We'll come to that, but that is the correlation there. It's just the Bible is so amazing. Go ahead.
The 10 horns that we have here are in reference to 10 kings, and 7 heads refers to 10 kingdoms. So we have kings and we have kingdoms, and these 7 kingdoms are Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome, but Rome is in 2 phases. And this, you'll notice this if you are familiar at all with the book of Daniel, because this is the same prophecy that Daniel gave in his book when he was interpreting the dreams. And then he also goes into the prophecies of Alexander the Great and the dividing of the his
And that was
empire.
part of the beast that he was talking about. The leopard was Alexander the Great, if I remember right.
Yes, yeah, it
And
represented.
the bear was Persia.
It
Oh my
represented. Yep.
gosh! And what was lion? The lion was pride. It
It,
was
it represented the four different generals under which
thank you.
under which Alexandrian conquests were divided. So you have the Seleucid Empire and all that stuff comes about through that.
All right.
Um, so um, this was found in Daniel chapter 7, but it's in reverse order. So Daniel 7, you have the lion, the bear, the leopard, and here you have the leopard, the bear, and the lion.
And I've heard that described as one was looking forward. Daniel was looking forward, but in this they're kind of looking back at it, maybe something like that.
The lion communicates arrogantly and with authority.
With
The bear controls extensively, and the leopard conquers swiftly. And Alexander's Alexander's conquest, it's said that he cried because there was no more world left to conquer, and he was a young man.
Very swiftly too.
Yeah. And then we get into verse 3. I keep saying chapter for verse today. I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to the death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And this wound becomes an identifier or a idiom by which everyone associates this personage of the beast. And there's a reference in Zechariah that says, "Woe to the idle shepherd that leapeth the flock. The sword shall be upon his arm, and upon his right eye." So we were at Revelation 13 now. I think we're at verse 13. He doeth great wonders, and he makes fire come down from heaven in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had the power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live. And so you now see that this false prophet is using similar signs and wonders. He's imitating what God did in the Old Testament. The primary weapon that Satan uses is deception, it's falsehood. It's quite frankly duplication, because God is the author of creation. All Satan does is duplicate what has already been done. He doesn't create anything new, even conceptually speaking like that. So we have our batteries back in.
Let's see. Oh yeah,
back.
now I'm back. I'm glad I watched it. I may be off a little bit if I missed that, but carry on. I'm so sorry.
No,
Thank you for. Hey, we're human.
Yeah. The thing about it is Jesus didn't rely on miracles to authenticate his message. There were miracles there, but that was not his reliance. And this is one of the things that you've heard me say in previous episodes and in private conversations, that a miracle is a wonderful thing, but a miracle ultimately only benefits the recipient of that miracle in and of itself. It does no good for the collective. If I get deathly ill and I'm on my deathbed and I have some miraculous healing, well, good for me, and maybe a little bit good for those immediate me and my family who are now blessed by my return to health. But every single other person in the kingdom of Christianity's not greatly affected by that miracle. So miracles are great, but miracles are minuscule compared to truth and justice and divine love and all these things.
Well, salvation.
Right. Or salvation. Exactly. So where was I? Verse 15. He had power to give life into the image of the beast. Now, that's an interesting one, because the only power to give life comes from God. God breathed life into man, and God told man to go forth and multiply. And as with all the other beasts of the field, that spark of life is a gift of God. And so he causes this image or whatever to become, to apparently have life.
Apparently.
Yeah. Like AI.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you could actually we have the technology right now to have some sort of a robotic image and utilizing AI protocols to give it some appearance or semblance of life.
Oh, yeah. It would be very easy to deceive the masses with that technology.
Yeah. Um, just saying. I don't know that that's what's going to happen. I'm just conjecturing. Is that possible? You decide. Um, let us know in the comments. Um, and then it says that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So it appears to have life. It can speak and cause those who won't worship to die.
So I'd never caught that third point, that this image will have that power. Mm.
Yeah. And he calls us all, both small and great, and rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or on their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell that save he has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And again, this is very similar to what we see in Daniel chapter 3 when we had these three men who refused to bow down to this idol, and they were thrown into this fiery furnace.
On topic, but off kind of a little bit. I saw a meme on the phone yesterday. May the fourth be with you, and it was the three in the furnace with Jesus with him. May the fourth. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I throw that in there. I just thought that was a cool way, Star Wars kind of way to talk about this. May the fourth be with you, because he always is.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, rabbit hole.
So we know now if you can't buy or sell without this mark, then we know that, and this is global. Nobody can buy or sell. It's not like, well, those people who are in India can't buy or sell, or those people who are on the Isle of Skye, whatever. No, everybody. So this person basically has authority and power over the global economy.
Over the globe. Wow.
Over the global economy, which is one of the reasons why it's like the closer and closer we get to a global economy, the closer and closer we get to one person having authority to tell you you can't have the things that you need unless you do exactly as I say. Surrender all your freedom, bow to me, and then I'll give you some bread. It's dangerous.
It's going to get bad.
It's going to get bad. And then we get to the end of the chapter. Here's wisdom: let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. The number of 6 in gematria is associated with man. It's also associated with creation. God created everything in 6 days. On the seventh day that he rested. Goliath was 6 cubits tall. His spear weighed 6 shekels. He had 6 pieces of armor. Nebuchadnezzar's image was 60 cubits high and 6 cubits wide, and there was 6 instruments that made music. Blah 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 blah.
It just goes on and on and on.
Yeah. So we have this message, and that we have these 2 beasts. I'm going to refer to them as the beast and the false prophet. And we have, of course, the dragons giving them their power and their authority. And they are making war. Excuse me. They are making war against the remnant of Israel and against all who would stand on the side of God. This war, understand, is not against man. It's against belief. If you would just change your allegiance, then they will spare your life. It's not a war against mankind. This is a war against God, and it's against your faith in God, where and whom you put your trust.
Who will you serve?
Who will you serve? And it is very fundamentally fundamentally critical that you make that choice now. Don't wait until the final hour when you're faced with this choose or die. Because right now, most of us, thankfully, um, aren't faced with death of immediate death if we make this choice. There are many around the globe who are still persecuted and executed for being Christian. Unfortunately, that is a reality that some people face, and it is our prayer that the Lord sends special blessings and power to those people who are in those regions of the world that face that type of persecution. And it's also our prayer that those people here in North America, in our country, who are seeing an increase in animosity towards towards the church and towards God and towards the believers, that we would be given patience and boldness and faith and authority to speak in with those giftings, patience and love, boldness. That we love our enemies, even though that they want to hate and persecute us. That we speak the truth to them boldly, and that we stand on the foundation that was laid by God Himself and follow the example of Yeshua, Jesus, the Messiah. We're going to continue on. There's going to be lots more to this, but that's kind of where we are today. Thank you very much again for listening. We are very blessed that you tune into our podcast, and those of you who watch our videos on whichever platform you choose. We are so grateful for you. And don't forget that our main mission, part of our main goal in ministry, is to put Bibles in the hands of all those that need them, regardless of their ability to afford. We send Bibles to missionary places around the globe. We send Bibles to individuals if they need them. We will help any person, anywhere, at any time, as long as it's within our means, acquire Bibles. And if you would like to partner with us and sow into that ministry and help us achieve that goal, you can do so by going to our website at thekingsforge.org. And there'll be some ways on there that you can donate. You could also mail any kind of checks to the King's Forge, P.O. Box 2590, Shelbyville, Tennessee 37160. Should you wish to contact us, you want to discuss a problem that you're having, you want to request prayer, or maybe you have a topic that you would like us to just discuss and hammer out in the forge, we really want to hear from you. So write to us. You can get to us at 1kingsforge@gmail.com. That's the number 1, kingsforge@gmail.com. Or you can contact us individually at randy@sharpening-iron.com, david@sharpening-iron.com, or mike@sharpening-iron.com. Thank you very much. We love you. We want you happy.
We want you blessed.
And we want you back here in the kingdom.